boxing truth here. It's becoming a very bizarre situation for the search for Gennady Golovkin's next opponent. It's never easy for Tom Loffler, uh, managing director of K2, who represents Golovkin. It's never easy for him to find opponents for him. He's always had this type of problem getting any suitable opponents or respectable guys to get in the ring with Golovkin. Now, there's now news about Dominic Wade possibly getting a fight with Golovkin. He's rated number 3 by the IBF. I didn't think, because of Toriano Johnson pulling out of the fight because of shoulder surgery, I didn't think the IBF was going to go further down their rankings and force a mandatory. I thought maybe they would order an eliminator between the number 3 and 4 contenders because the number 2 spot is vacant and Toriano is hurt. So I thought maybe they would order an eliminator and those two guys would, the winner of that fight would get a shot at Golovkin later on. But apparently not. The IBF went down their rankings and it's Dominic Wade is the highest available guy that's rated for the IBF, and it's a shit fight. It's a grotesque mismatch. I'm not interested in seeing Golovkin slaughter Dominic Wade. Now, some fans may think, why would HBO approve of that bout? Well, they're in the Golovkin business. They've invested in this guy. They've put money on this guy's career, so they're gonna have to compromise if this fight gets made. They will approve it. They've approved it. They approved Rubio, so why wouldn't they approve Dominic Wade? They're in the Golovkin business, so same thing with Kovalev. They approved Muhammadi. Sometimes you got to take one for the team in order to build these guys into stars. So Dominic Wade is a very inexperienced fighter. He's undefeated, 18-0, 12 knockouts from Maryland, 25 years old. However, he's nowhere near ready for Golovkin. It's a mismatch. It's a predetermined matchup. Everybody knows it. Dominic Wade, solid fighter, solid amateur background, but I mean, this guy, he looked terrible in his last fight. He couldn't even handle a 41-year-old Sam Soliman, who was coming off a bad fight with Jermaine Taylor. Had an injury to his knee. He was hobbling throughout the whole fight. He's 41 years old, and he gave Dominic Wade all he could handle. It was a step-up fight. He did not look good in it. I'm not even sure he passed the test. It's very questionable that he beat Sam Soliman. He got a very tight split decision win. A lot of the Showtime commentators disagreed. They felt Sam Soliman clearly beat Dominic Wade. The fight was too boring for me and not big enough for me to care to rewatch it again. So watching it once was once enough. I'm not gonna watch that fight again. Don't care who won. At the end of the day, Dominic Wade didn't look good. Got out hustled by the older guy from Australia. And now that is the last resort for Golovkin's team, to have Dominic Wade as the opponent. Of course, they don't want to get stripped. They have 30 days to negotiate to make a deal. Now, some hardcore fans are speculating that, the only thing interesting about this fight is that Dominic Wade is an Al Haymon fighter, and it's been a while since the Al Haymon fighter has fought on HBO. So, and this will be the first time, if the fight were to be made, that Golovkin is fighting an Al Haymon client. Now, some hardcore fans will speculate that, Haymon could push for a purse bid, and then maybe he could outbid K2, and then maybe he could because since Golovkin has an exclusive deal with HBO, he could make Golovkin vacate his title because He can't fight outside of HBO. But the thing is, K2 and Tom Loffler, this is not Golden Boy or Top Rank we're talking about here. This is Golovkin's promoter is K2, and Tom Loeffler. He stated in the past to the media that he has no problems with Al Heyman. He has no beef. He has no problem working with Al Heyman, and he's very confident he can make a deal with Dominic Wade to fight Golovkin if that is the fight that's going to happen. So there shouldn't be any issues for Dominic Wade to come over to HBO to fight as long as K2 can make a deal. Right now they're negotiating with one of the sham promoters, what Top Rank likes to call him a sham promoter of Heyman's, called Tom Brown Promotions. They will be representing Dominic Wade's side of negotiations, and it's the last resort though. That's not really the fight K2 wants. They'll only take that fight if there's no other options on the table. There is some hope that perhaps Billy Joe Saunders is reconsidering and maybe will take the fight, because Golovkin and his team and Tom Loeffler were in London this past week. They visited the Uptown Park venue to watch a soccer team play, football team play, and it's created a little hope that maybe, because Billy Joe Saunders was stating to the media earlier this month that he wants some terms his way if he were to take a Golovkin fight, and one of the terms were he would like for Golovkin to come to the UK because it will give Billy Joe Saunders a better shot at winning the fight. And it looks like maybe Golovkin and his team are very open to coming to the UK. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to come all the way to London just to watch a soccer game. I'm pretty sure they were there on business. Maybe, perhaps, a Billy Joe Saunders fight will take place, and his promoter, Saunders' promoter Frank Warren, has staged big fights in that arena before, where Golovkin and his team visited to watch the game at Upton Park. So there's a slim hope that maybe Saunders is maybe going to take the fight, but I had to see it to believe it. An alternative plan would be, if it's not Billy Joe Saunders that they're coming over there for, maybe they're trying to get a fight with Chris Eubank Jr., who's a better opponent than Dominic Wade. Dominic Wade is just, resume is very soft. He's fought a lot of guys with losing streaks, handpicked opponents. He only recently stepped up, and he didn't look good in that fight against Sam Soliman. Eubank Jr. is a much more formidable foe, better opponent, has been in there with Billy Joe Saunders, is considered a good puncher, and Chris Eubank Jr.'s father has stated that he is willing to match his son with Golovkin if given the opportunity. However, I'm not sure if that fight is doable for April or whenever Golovkin is considering to fight. Eubank Jr. has a fight on March 5th against Nick Blackwell for the British title, so I'm not sure if he's still available on the table. I don't know if maybe he'll perhaps pull out of the fight to take a Golovkin fight. It's a lot of speculation right now. Hopefully that fight with Dominic Wade does not happen. It's a waste of time for Golovkin. Wade's nowhere near the level of Triple G. It's a big showcase. I mean, I'm pretty sure HBO doesn't like the fight. They have no interest in it, but they're in the Golovkin business. They're gonna have to showcase the fight if that is the last resort. But it's the last option. K2 and GG are trying very hard to get a much better fight on the table, because a Dominic Wade fight is, I mean, people could say what they want about it. It's not defendable. You can't say anything about it. People will say whatever they want to say, but it's not a good fight. It's not. Definitely doesn't really. That's a fight definitely that shouldn't be on HBO. I mean, but Golovkin's he's in business. He's in business with HBO. HBO's has spent a lot of money, spend a lot of time trying to build Golovkin to a star, and it is what it is. If it's Dominic Wade, it's Dominic Wade. Anyways, this is Boxing Truth. I'm out.